we were talking about AEW a minute ago,
Hmm.
and now they've had two of the Owen Hart Foundation tournaments.
Yeah.
Obviously, your uncle Owen, and I was just wondering how you felt or the family felt about that, like how that if you guys had it, how that came to be, because I know that all the proceeds from like the shirts and the action
Yeah.
figures are going towards the Owen Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, if you had any insight on that and any feelings on that how that's been presented the last 2 years.
I mean, I go back and forth. Like before AEW kind of came along and started to do that stuff about my Uncle Owen, I had a really tough time swallowing. And I know my dad did too, that like he couldn't be celebrated. Like I get from Martha's point of view and the kids that he couldn't be celebrated from the WWE because of how he passed.
Hmm.
But I feel like there was just such a huge loss for all of the fan base for so long because of, I don't want to call it stubbornness, but it feels like stubbornness at times. Because it's like WWE, yes, they'll probably make money from, because they wouldn't let him induct him in the Hall of Fame, right? So it's like, but he did so much work for the WWE
Yeah.
that like he deserves to be next to his colleagues and the people like he legitimately in my mind died for the company.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, how do you not celebrate it? I get that it's like really shitty circumstances, but at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. It was one of those things where it's like, I don't know what I would do if I was in the same position as Martha. I think
Mhm.
that I probably would have let him go into the Hall of Fame, but who's to say, like, if I would have? Like, that was such an odd time to be alive. Cause, like, I remember, like, from start to finish that entire day of, like, my dad because he wasn't at home. He came to Calgary for a few hours, or even the day before, because they were at the Hitman hockey tournament. So like WHL team, all the way in Ontario, and then my dad left from Ontario to go, I think, somewhere in the States. And my dad was notified of my uncle dying over the. I think the pilot came and let him know. Somebody contacted the pilot.
Yeah, that's the story I heard on some
Yeah,
podcasts and stuff. Yeah.
and then my mom, because my mom had been away with my dad, she like was coming to pick me up because I was staying with a friend in Calgary, like while they were on this trip because I wasn't not a hockey player, so there's no need for me to be on this WHL trip.
Mm.
But then I remember walking up the driveway and my mom being in tears and like it was just such a sad moment. And then like seeing the as that continued, like my dad finally did come home because he had basically had to be turned around, came right from home and then seeing my dad be in that kind of sadness because I don't think I had seen that necessarily yet. Like I was seeing my dad sad. He's a very sensitive human being, but like not like that. And then like it was just the most surreal experience. So like all of that, and then it's like I get that that sadness was real for everybody, but to not celebrate somebody's life that they chose to give their life for this career, and to just pretend that it didn't exist, and then I like that AEW is at least doing something with it. And
Mm-hmm.
like there is some of the colleagues, like Mark Henry was really good friends with my uncle Owen. So it's like to get to see them celebrate him, but it's still a different fan base. It just doesn't feel like it's really fitting necessarily. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just my own perspective. But I think at least we're making waves and progress in the right direction that like there is somewhere to celebrate for my uncle Owen.
And I do see that. Yeah, and I do see, obviously there's utmost respect from the wrestlers too. You know, CM Punk was wearing some colors, some Hitman
Yeah.
colors, some heart colors, and they all tend to put it in there during that month of those few weeks of the tournament and stuff, and try and pay
Mm-hmm.
homage and stuff. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I had a question though when you were describing that. Maybe it's something that Brandon already knows and I don't understand. Maybe you could clarify a little bit more. Whose decision was it to not have Owen Hart um, in
Martha.
the? It was Martha's. Okay,
Yeah, his wife won't let him have any ties to WWE whatsoever. So there's
still to
a
this day. Okay,
yeah, so there's a Hall of Fame, and I'm pretty sure it's Mark Henry, pleading in his speech to let him go up, like to let him be inducted, and like
yeah.
because they'd been trying for so long, and it's like they basically have to pretend that his career just doesn't exist, and that's just to me, it's not fair. Like at that point,
Do you talk to your Aunt Martha? Like, do you guys
no,
like? Is that not?
no, I think like she has maybe some bad blood with my family and how they handled it. Like I don't think she has any bad blood towards me by any means because I was
Right,
way
right,
too
right.
young to even do anything with it. But um I definitely there's a disconnect there. And I think that eventually that disconnect, like any kid, like I feel like her children will eventually want to come around and our family a lot more, because they're going to want to know where their dad came from. It's like
Right.
how I look at that. But who's to say? I think that they're all doing really, really well. Like they're all really successful and like, you know, smart, intelligent human beings, and they've only thrived since then. So like I kind of watch from like a distance that way, but like to say that I know them or could even have like a coffee with them, like they would need to ask. Like I wouldn't even know if I would recognize them off the street at this point.
Wow. I didn't realize. So I guess that's something I didn't realize is after the tragic death of your uncle, like that. You know, I guess I just didn't dive into it. I don't know if that's information that's out there, Brandon, that maybe you knew about too. He knows a little bit more than I do about certain things, and but hearing it from you, I didn't realize there was a rift in the family after that.
Yeah, I think it was more so like how like the legal stuff happened.
Okay.
Like that's kind of where things kind of fell apart, and like I don't know enough about it where I can even, I guess,
I mean, how old were you? How old were you when that happened?
So if I would have been 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, 9. No, 10. I would be 10 because I was
Okay.
born in 88.
Hmm.
And then if it was 99, then I probably was I probably just turned 11 because my
Gotcha.
birthday is May 17th, and then he died on the 23rd, I believe.
Oh wow! Right after your
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So May is always like a rough time of the year for like our family because you have my Uncle Davey's birthday, you have my Uncle Owen's birthday, you have my grandpa's birthday, you have my birthday, you have my cousin Matt's birthday. Like all the
Wow.
people aside from me have all passed. And then you have my uncle's death date. And then I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure my Uncle Davey's death date is also in May.
Wow. I don't think I realized all that, man. That's tough.
Yeah,
That's a tough month.
so May, I'm like, let's make my birthday October. Let's go back to like more of like the dark roots. I'm like, people are like will reach out and be like, "Happy birthday!" I'm like, but is it though? Like,
just change your birthday to the October 31st. You celebrate it on Halloween.
Exactly.
You just do what you
That's
want
what
with
I've been thinking. My dad's like, "It's your birthday." I'm like, but it shouldn't be. Like, it's just such a shitty.
I don't want it in this month anymore.
Yeah, I'm good. This kind of seems like an omen being involved in this month at all.
Right.
But like I always do, I try to find light in that. Like, because me and my cousin Matt, the one that did pass away from flesh-eating disease, we have the same birthday. So I think a lot of people, so a lot of us, like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you have such a special day because you share it with Matt." And it's like, I feel like I should just give it to Matt. Like, like this could be his day. Like, it's one of those weird things where, like, I just feel bad. There's a lot of sadness there, and there's obviously like, I know that people are still happy for me, but it's like it just doesn't feel right. So I think I am going to change my birthday to October.
Well,